Welcome, beautiful souls, to the Angelic Awakening podcast. My name is Kate and I'm your host. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't tuned in to episode 1, you can do via YouTube, but we are also streaming on Anchor and Spotify, so whatever resonates with you, please feel free to come together with me on this journey. As this is all new to me, all I ask is that I've got my training wheels on, so just please bear with me as I work through this whole setup and uploading. It's not going to be perfect, but nothing in life ever is, so just bear with me while we're on this journey together. So in episode 1, we touched on a little bit about my family side of the spiritual history there. So I'm now going to go more into my own personal journey, just to give you an idea so that we can get to know each other a little bit better. So if it looks like I'm just reading key points that I wanted to bring up. However, if Spirit connects with me and wants to bring through a message, I will also do that as well. So it's a bit of a process, but we will get there. So in episode 1, we established my family ties within the spiritual realm. I have come to learn through my own healing journey these past few years, but particularly months, that I have actually been here many lifetimes before, even in different realms. They do exist. But I have been reincarnated here to Earth to be here for this very moment, along with many others, for this very time, where the human race more than ever needs all star seeds and light workers to hold their divine light swords high in order to raise the vibration of the planet and into the loving 5D dimension that is awaiting all humans when they are ready to leap. And if you don't know exactly what I'm talking about in regards to the 5D dimension, it's the new Earth that currently a lot of people that are awakening up to. It's what we're heading towards. So it's moving away from fear, from being scared, out of that low vibrational frequency that I touched on in the first podcast, and moving into a new realm where love, compassion, grace is the forefront for the human race, and everyone lives in peace. So I encourage you to do your own research and reading into that if you're not aware of what I'm talking about, but it's a great place to be, and that's a part of my journey of why I'm here, is to bring people on board. Not necessarily, but people that are going through a spiritual awakening and are looking for someone to help guide them. So, let's go back to the beginning, and yes, I mean birth. So, I was born on the 10th of March, 1990 at 2:25 in the morning in the city of Sydney, Australia. My mum, after being told that I would be born at 8 o'clock in the morning via cesarean section, I decided that I would come into the world my own way, on my own terms, so that you can trust I came out with my own story to tell. Upon becoming earthbound, I was visited within the early hours of coming to planet Earth by what I now reflect as being an angelic being, who was orientating me to Earth with my mission. What is this I talk about, you ask? I know it sounds nuts, just bear with me while I recollect. During the early hours of my earthborn life, what appeared to be a lady dressed in a nurse's uniform entered the birthing room of my mother, where my father and I were also present. This lady attended to me like a nurse would, but what she said to my mother left her baffled as to who this person was. She said to my mother, "Oh wow, this child is incredibly gifted. She is going to do great things." She also commented on how happy she was that I had passed and cleansed my meconium prior to coming out, which in her words had meant that I was pure on arrival to Earth. As my mother had just gone through childbirth, my dad is a reliable source in backing up this story. Thank God. My poor mum. My mother sent my father to my side in the bassinet, as this being was touching and talking to my parents about a small being who had only been in the world for a mere few hours, all the whilst making such commentary for a life yet to be lived. Before she left the room, she placed 3 fingertips on my head. The spot where she touched me my whole life has grown 3 fingertips of white blonde hair. Like whatever it was the day I was born, she touched me in a way that would permanently change who I was going to be in this lifetime. Upon her leaving the room, another nurse entered the room. And as my mother has always been one to question everything in life, thanks for passing this down to me, Mother, a very trait that would serve me well later in life, and we'll touch on that on another episode. She asked the nurse, "Who was that nurse in here before?" The nurse had no idea who my mother or father were talking about. And when she described her appearance and personality, they told my parents that no one of that description worked at the hospital. So take from it what you will, but I have been told by Spirit since reflecting on this experience through meditation that this was a divine guardian orientating me here to earth, welcoming me here, and ensuring that I have set out on the path to be here in this very moment. I know a lot of this stuff can sound very strange, particularly to people that are not open-minded to the spiritual realm and the experiences that come with being in it. But in further podcasts, I will touch more on these issues. In the meantime, though, that is my story that I wanted to share with you today. Just so, again, we can get to know each other a bit better and you can understand where I've come from. This is something that I've blocked out for a very long time while I pursued another career that I've actually left through circumstances and through being guided by Spirit. It's been a really hard last year, actually. A very emotional year. I was very broken. And I guess, everything happens for a reason, guys. That's one thing I definitely know. I have so much more to share with you. And, personal stories and struggles is something that everyone can relate to. In my readings, if Spirit wants to connect with you guys and send through a message, I will bring that through. I will also be bringing on friends of mine, family of mine, to help connect this story together. And as we go through this journey together, I'm sure more souls will come along as well. So thank you so much for tuning in and thank you for being here. It's honestly, I'm so grateful to be here. I love you guys all so much. Take care.